to find my own way to communicate with a big group of people who work together with the same goal, which is to win, is going to be the major challenge for me.
They've flown into the Portuguese Atlantic coastal resort of Estoril from all over the world to witness a dream that had started just 4 months earlier become a reality. 400 journalists, including 35 television crews, gather in the splendour of the Palazzo Hotel for a dinner to launch an explosive new combination to take on the best in the world's greatest motorsport challenge, the FIA Formula One World Championship. This particular dream started last October when Frank Williams revealed that 3 times world champion Ayrton Senna was joining Damon Hill in the 1994 Rothmans-Williams Renault lineup. Brazilian Senna's very first appearance as a member of the Williams team has attracted the attention of the world's media. His new teammate Damon Hill has more time to chat.
The man who last year won 3 Grand Prix. He finished 3rd in the FIA World Drivers' Championship with 69 points. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome, if you please, for Damon Hill. He gave us an extremely hard time on occasions last year, and I'm glad to say he's now on the same side. He won 5 Grand Prix. He finished 2nd in last year's World Championship with 73 points. Ladies and gentlemen, Brazilian driver Ayrton Senna. Obviously, the man behind the pairing to my left needs no introduction to you, so on behalf of all of us here, could you please welcome Frank Williams onto the stage, please.
I think that the team will be competitive. The Renault engine finished last year the best engine. I believe it will start this year the best engine. Their commitment is as great as anybody's I've ever met in Formula One. And I believe that with Ayrton and with Damon, we arguably have the strongest driver combination in Formula One. If we don't win, it won't be their fault.
Frank, thank you very much.
Damon Hill leaves for the Estoril circuit the next morning, following in the footsteps of a famous and charismatic father, and then the most successful British Grand Prix driver of all time, has made Hill even more determined to succeed in his chosen career. Last year he handled his first season in Formula One with a pedigree that belied his lack of experience. Father Graham, who was killed in a plane crash in 1975, was one of the most popular world champions of all time, winning the world titles in 1962 and 1968. He won 14 Grand Prix in a golden era of motor racing, an era no better summed up than this particular incident, when after overshooting the bend, he pushed his car back on the track and then went on to win the 1965 Monaco Grand Prix. Following closely behind Damon Hill on Wednesday morning are the journalists and cameramen, making their way through the tunnel under the Estoril circuit, picking up all relevant information en route. Hill reappears in the new sponsor's livery. But attention now focuses on the arrival of Ayrton Senna, who 11 years ago drove his very first Formula One car, a Williams Ford at Donington Park in England. With 41 Grand Prix victories and 3 world titles later, Senna at last fulfills his dream by returning to the team that gave him his very first taste of the big time. The world press are there in force to capture the moment.
3/4.
It may be sunny and it's bitterly cold at the circuit 25 kilometres west of Lisbon, but it's a newsman's dream. The first look at the Williams Renault in the new sponsor's colours. Senna's first appearance for his new team, much to the delight of the vast ranks of camera. These pictures will appear throughout the world the next morning.
Okay, go.
And it's the first time Damon Hill and Ayrton Senna have shaken hands as teammates. It's cold, frustrating work for the drivers who'd rather be doing what they do best, driving the world's most powerful and sophisticated cars to the very limit. Actually driving the car can often be a relief for a modern-day Formula One driver who has so many other obligations to fulfill before being strapped into the cockpit. However, they do receive a belated Christmas present from Renault, the brand new RS6 V10 engine that will provide them and Williams with the horsepower to defend the world title that has been theirs for the last 2 years. Renault have always been at the forefront of World Championship motorsport technology. In 1975, they were the first manufacturer to build a turbocharged engine for Formula One. 4 years later, they built a double turbo in 1979, and in that same year, Jean-Pierre Jabeur brought Renault the first ever Grand Prix victory by a turbocharged engine in front of the patriotic home crowd at Dijon. René Arnoux and Alain Prost brought them further success, and 1984 heralded the arrival of the very first fully electronic engine management system. They provided the power for Ayrton Senna to capture the first of his 41 Grand Prix victories at Estoril in Portugal, driving the Lotus 97T in 1985. Alongside him on the rostrum, Williams world champions Nigel Mansell and Alain Prost. Williams and Renault joined forces in 1988, and Renault launched the first of their V10 engines, the RS1. History recounts that partnerships between British and French companies, whether it be on the battlefield or in industry, have not always ended in harmonious circumstances. But Williams and Renault have been the exception to the rule. The likes of Terry Boutsen, Nigel Mansell and Alain Prost have benefited from the partnership between two companies who have been rewarded for their foresight and faith in each other's ability. Across the English Channel and some 500 kilometres from Williams' base at Viry-Châtillon in the southern suburbs of Paris, 750 brake horsepower of power is squeezed out of the Renault engine at Renault Sport headquarters. The power from the Renault RS engine is quite awesome. It transports the Williams chassis from 0 to 240 kilometres per hour in 7 seconds, with an ultimate top speed of around 350 kilometres per hour.
When I sat in the car and start the engine for the first time now, these days here in Portugal, I I had something that really got me going, because I haven't done that in the factory or anywhere else. Here has been the first time I really sat in the car and put the engine on.
Senna must still wait for that first drive with even more media commitment.
It's a radical change in my career. In italiano non si parla, si parla. 83 foi apenas teste, foi uma grande oportunidade que eu tive na minha carreira.
And Hill is having trouble.
I'm Damon Hill of the Rothmans. Je m'appelle Damon Hill avec le Rothmans Williams Renault team. I've forgotten the name of the TV channel now.
John.
You get jeans on.
Bring it in. As close as you can from Will.
While that very important ingredient of any successful launch or lunch is being enjoyed by the guests, at last Senna and his new team can get to know each other. For the first time, out of the earshot of prying microphones and clicking cameras, the Williams test team meet the man they hope will bring them their third consecutive world title.
I have a lot to learn. I myself have a lot to learn with the car, the engine, and all its components, you know. You have different brakes, different steering systems, different gearbox, different transmissions, engine, the aerodynamics, everything is new.
Senna prepares himself meticulously before being strapped into the tight cockpit of the tools of his trade. It's a trade that requires utmost skill and bravery. There is only a few moments of silence and little time for reflection before the tranquility of a Portuguese January morning is shattered by the ferocious howl of the Renault V10 engine. At 10:30, all eyes and cameras finally focus on the track. The 4-month wait is over for the two drivers from very different backgrounds, but sharing that same burning ambition. Ayrton Senna and Damon Hill forged the new partnership into a fighting unit, and the new Grand Prix team is on the road, and the real hard work is about to start. At first, it's fairly playful sparring, mainly staged for the cameras around the 4.350-kilometre circuit that hosts this year's Portuguese Grand Prix.
Apart, please, apart.
But back in the pit garage, the serious work is about to start. The smile from Frank Williams says it all. Frank Williams' love affair with Formula One started in 1969. In addition to his magnificent engineering facility at Didcot, he has built a motorsport museum that proudly contains every one of his Formula One cars. Alan Jones gave them their first World Drivers' Championship. Championship-winning cars for Nelson Piquet and Alain Prost soon followed. The Oxfordshire town of Didcot, some 60 kilometres west of London, was best known for its giant cooling towers that dominated the local landscape. That was until Williams Grand Prix Engineering put the Oxfordshire town firmly on the map in 1984. housing the power for the Renault RS engine that has brought the team the World Constructors' Championship for the last 2 years is a complex problem. But Williams came up with the perfect beauty to tame the beast. The Renault engine is housed in a monocoque chassis which is constructed from many different carbon fibre composite materials, each with a separate task to perform. Last year, the FW15C designed and built at Didcot dominated the World Championship. A team of designers and engineers sought and grasped totally new parameters in technology, materials, aerodynamics, hydraulics and construction methods more akin to a space exploration program. Once matched with the mighty Renault power plant, the whole car weighs just 505 kilograms, and months of work took place at Didcot to fashion an amazing amount of aerodynamic downforce from the wings and side pods to keep the car on the ground. In 1977, Frank Williams recruited the services of engineer Patrick Hay. He's been at the forefront of Formula One technology ever since.
It seems rather too long ago to remember now, but I was building a boat and intended to go and do some deep water sailing, but unfortunately I was beginning to run out of money and Frank was running out of engineers, so the two coincided. Yeah. I think the politics off the track are tedious and wearing undoubtedly, but the competition on the track is as interesting, if not more interesting than ever. And I worked out a very long time ago that doing it badly is not worthwhile. And so the technical side on the track, you've got to do 100%.
Every one of Williams' 220 members sleeps and eats Formula One success, apart from when the cards come out in that most traditional of British institutions, the morning tea break. Back at Estoril, the tradition continues, but there's no time for cards. Senna and his new team and teammates are getting to know each other. Damon Hill listens in on all conversation. Frank Williams offers advice, while Ayrton Senna continues to learn.
The rubber is sealed later on to stop you, not allow you to go much. 14.9. You got 14.9.
The three-times world champion is facing the greatest challenge of his Formula One career, and he's determined not to waste a single minute. However, already he's learning about the importance of a cup of tea. Slowly, the driver, who is regarded by many experts as the greatest racing driver of all time, is beginning to relax and smile and enjoy his new surroundings.
I needed to sit in the car and go out, run, the pace that I feel comfortable with without pressure, and slowly progress, slowly learn about everything, and I'm looking forward, really looking forward to it. I want it.
just slow down a bit and let Ayrton catch up, please. Slow down, please.
Damon Hill is the lap record holder at the Estoril circuit. His average speed for the lap was an incredible 209.193 kilometres per hour.
This is the start of a lap of the Estoril circuit in Portugal with the Rothmans Williams Renault FW15D. Starting from a standing start, at 14,000 RPM, first gear, second gear, going up through the gears right up to sixth gear until we get to the very fast first corner, which is taken in fifth gear. Running out wide, but continuing to turn right, again in fifth gear, heading down to a hairpin gear, which is a hairpin corner, which is taken in third gear. Slightly uphill, the sun in your eyes, difficult to see and very slippery. Changing down now to second gear, the slowest corner on the circuit, quite bumpy. Accelerating hard as you can on the exit of the corner, through the gears. This is the back straight, but it has a kink in it. But even so, you get up to sixth gear and braking very hard again down now to third gear and heading back. Third gear up to fourth gear. Now this is one of the trickiest corners on the circuit. Third gear, the road drops away, it's very bumpy, change the track surface there. And another very fast fourth gear uphill right-hander, which is blind, you can't see the exit. You pop out of the top of that. Just a slight kink and braking for the last but one corner. Second gear, up through the gears into fifth gear, very fast parabolica corner, taken in fifth gear. Very important to get a quick exit out of this corner because this leads on to the 1 kilometre long straight to complete the lap.
The first day of the new partnership draws to a close, with everybody delighted with the outcome. That dream has finally been fulfilled.
You drive the way I drive, you have all way.
It's a big welly out the pit lane this morning. Was that you spinning the wheels out of the pit lane, or was it you? That was curious. I was, we trying to warm up the tyres, just give it a bit of heat. Just fun.
I know nothing about it, so I have to go a little bit of the thing to...
Yes. Did you give it more welly today? Were you on it harder today, or?
Yes. It's better to be not as cold.
And the feels
like not as cold.
The steering?
Then it feels a bit better because the pressures also were
coming up
high.
Yes. And what revs did you use this morning? I suppose the best thing to say is that if I can be as happy as I have been in this past few weeks, by the end of the year, then I feel that we have done pretty well during the 94 season.
Racing, competing, is in my blood. It's part of me, it's part of my life. I've been doing it all my life. And it stands up before anything else.